A global city is a city generally considered to be an important node in the global economic system. The major global centers of the world are New York, Tokyo, Paris, and London. They are hubs around which people, capital, information, and goods revolve. The term global city was first used in 1991 by the sociologist Saskia Sassen. There are many factors which make a city a global city: its economic, financial activities, its transport infrastructures, its human capital, but there are also political, cultural factors. And London responds to all these criteria. The city is the world's leading financial center, and the London Stock Exchange is one of the three most important of the world. There are 405 kilometers of underground railway, 8.5 million inhabitants, a melting pot of cultures. The city organized the Olympic Games in 2012 and is the home of the British Parliament, a big player in the political affairs. So we are going to see why London can be considered as a global city. We will first see the political side of the city, then the economic one, and finally the cultural one.
London is a center of political power in many ways. First, it is the city where lie most of English politics. Here, all the crucial decisions are made. London has two centers, the City of London, economic center, and the City of Westminster, the center of power. It's the borough of the politicians. There is Buckingham Palace, where lives the Queen, Elizabeth II. Downing Street, official residence of the Prime Minister David Cameron, and of course, the Palace of Westminster, where lies the Parliament, composed of the House of Commons and of the House of the Lords. You can also find in London all the ministries of the United Kingdom. There is also a very important institution in London, the headquarters of the Commonwealth of Nations. The Commonwealth of Nations is an intergovernmental organization of 53 member states that were mostly territories of the former British Empire. The Commonwealth operates by intergovernmental consensus of the member states. They share values of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. It preaches for the institution of world peace and free trade. The member states are free and equal. The symbol of this free association is Queen Elizabeth II, who is the head of the Commonwealth. The Queen is also the monarch of 16 members of the Commonwealth, known as the Commonwealth realms. For example, you have countries such as Canada, Australia. This organization links the United Kingdom in terms of international relations, with all the states composing it. Eventually, London has a military dimension with the HQ London District, the military district. It provides for London ceremonial events as well as supporting operational deployments overseas such as Iraq and Afghanistan. It is the Queen who is the Commander-in-Chief of the British armies, though they are more managed by the Defense Council of the Ministry of Defense, headed by the Secretary of State for Defense. Thus, it is here in London that taking the decision of launching a nuclear bomb would be taken.
In the 16th century, the fate of London knows a major revolution. Thanks to the big discoveries, her port is abruptly placed in the center of the new sea routes of the world exchanges. The situation of the city offers it a favored opening to the world. London is indeed situated on a thorough site of estuary, the Thames. Today, London is the world's leading financial center for international business and commerce, and is one of the common centers for the global economy. London produces to her alone 19% of the GDP of England, 1/3 of the head offices of the European large companies took up residence there, and in 2004 it counted 34 of the head offices among the 500 biggest world groups. That is to say, 80% of the number implanted in the United Kingdom. For comparison, at the same moment, Tokyo counted 52, Paris 36, and New York 30. The nature of London's economy has undergone change over the years. While manufacturing industries held the dominant position during the 19th century and the early 20th century, service industries, especially financial and business services, are now the dominant sector. Of the total £37 billion annual export of goods and services, financial and business services account for about £15.5 billion. London is the home to many banks and financial institutions and has the maximum number of foreign banks in any city. The city is also a major center for forex trade. London trades more US dollars than New York does and more euros than all other cities in Europe combined. Greater London has about 300 million square foot of office space, mostly concentrated within 5 main business districts. The city, with its finance, insurance and legal firms, Westminster, where the major occupants are real estate and private banking firms, corporate headquarters and government organizations, Camden and Islington, which has an abundance of creative, design, art, architecture and fashion firms, with a good mix of financial firms as well. Canary Wharf, a major center for banking, media and legal companies, and finally, Lambeth and Southwark, mostly occupied by accountancy and consultant firms.
London is also considered as a global city because it has an important cultural influence all over the world on literature, art and cinema. London literature is quite famous because it has been represented by great authors who are nowadays part of the London culture, such as William Shakespeare, a great author of the 17th century, who wrote Hamlet in 1603. There is also Charles Dickens, great author of the Victorian era, who wrote Oliver Twist in 1837. And of course, there is also Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and his dependable friend Dr. Watson. London has also a big influence on the world of the cinema. In fact, there are 4 famous movie studios, such as the Pinewood Studios, the Shepperton Studios, the Elstree Studios and the Leavesden Studios, belonging to the Warner Bros. Company, which has produced films such as Batman, Matrix or Inception, for example. London is also a place where a lot of films were shot, such as Skyfall with Daniel Craig or Harry Potter in the King's Cross station. Nowadays, a lot of artists are trained in famous London art schools, such as the Central School of Speech and Drama or the London Academy of Music and Art. But it's not the only reason why it has a huge cultural impact on the world. The city also has very famous museums such as the British Museum, the National History Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum. Nowadays, London's cultural environment is very interesting because the city has a multi-ethnic population. In fact, 60% of the 8.2 million citizens of London is born in England. The rest of the population comes from the major part from India, Pakistan, China or Italy. It's also said that London is one of the cities where the largest number of languages is spoken. In fact, it's said that 300 languages are spoken. That's why London is considered as a multicultural population, and it's the origin of the fact that London culture is very diversified and has an impact on the entire world. Thus, we saw that London was over centuries one of the most powerful cities in the world. Economically speaking, London has always been a major city thanks to great discoveries and these themes which enabled the city to trade with the whole world for centuries. Concerning culture, London has had a worldwide influence over literature, art and cinema thanks to great authors as William Shakespeare or Charles Dickens. About politics, London is the center of power and has a huge military and nuclear army. That's all these criteria which make London a global city.